Now joined by the Franklin Regional Panthers, my good friend Matt Lebe, head coach of his junior, Finn Solomon. Now a two-time state place winner, came up just short his freshman year where he found silver, DNP his sophomore year, but bounced back in dramatic fashion this year to find Hershey gold. First off, I want to welcome Coach Matt Lebe. Always a pleasure. Coach, talk a little bit about this season, the challenges, how your team was able to overcome, ultimately compete, and you guys had a great season.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. For the shortest season it was, it felt like the longest season, Jeff, as you guys can, the other coach can probably say. There was just, a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainties, starts, stops. We had a right away a weekend, we got shut down for a little bit of time, then we had the 3-week shutdown. So ultimately was proud of our leadership that we had with Finn being one of our guys, and our other senior leaderships. They did a great job keeping things going as much as they could, and we ended up having a great team season, capped off with a great individual season.
You did have a great team season, and I want to go back to the Westmoreland County Wrestling Tournament, where that's really where you had your coming out party. Just kind of ran away with those championships there. Talk a little bit about the performance there. It was actually an entire team effort, so I was very excited to see the Panthers back up in there on the county championships.
Yeah, appreciate that. That absolutely was the highlight, for our team for the season. We kind of knew it coming in. I remember I talked to you guys earlier, and we was a very mature team with a lot of guys that we thought could have a lot of success. We had some guys that were hurt coming back in, so we expected a lot of success. But obviously, when you have Hempfield there, Kiski, Burrell, Mount Pleasant, Lake Trobe, the whole county, we kind of thought we could have success there, but didn't really know if it would go that way, and was really proud of the guys. And like I said, to have some great battles with Hempfield in there and knew the team they were was certainly, a great tournament overall for our team.
What did you think about the new section? Did you like where you were, for the season? I mean, I know you can't come out and say, no, I didn't, but
sure,
you were able to have some success, but you also missed some good rivalries, I'm guessing, by your new section.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. It's, in a shortened season, and obviously when there was, limited qualifiers that moved on, I think that, being in our section, we was kind of away from the other, powerhouse county teams that we had. That not that we always welcome that challenge, but whenever we had a shortened season and being ready to go, it's I think it had some advantages to it, and obviously the disadvantages of wrestling. We always plan our schedule to have a great schedule, and part of our section dual meet gives us a great overall schedule. Not to take away from any other teams in our section, they just don't have the numbers that our traditional section has.
Well, minus Powerade too, you weren't able to compete at this year, and as Coach Shields said, that's usually a really great gauge for your guys to know where you are, because that's a truth teller.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing we did, we recognized early that we wasn't going to go to the Powerade. We wrestled Seneca Valley twice, Waynesburg. We wrestled North Allegheny. So, we did everything we could to put together the best schedule we could team-wise, and it was certainly by far our strongest dual meet when you look at the teams that we wrestled against. So that was fun. With the team that we had, we finished 17-3 overall, and with our losses coming against Waynesburg and Seneca Valley.
Right. Pretty good losses.
Yeah. So it was exciting to be able to wrestle in those duels, but certainly to miss that individual competition that these guys certainly look forward to, and a lot of our guys to make names for themselves and try to, put themselves on the individual map.
We alluded to this a little bit talking about the county tournament and being opposed to you. I'm talking from a coaching standpoint now. I thought what you guys did as a team at counties was really impressive. I mean, the number of guys that you put into the finals and what you did solidly as a team with the leaderships like Finn and Carter and some of the other guys. I mean, you had some other guys that were in the finals. I'm not going to say that shouldn't have been there, but really thrived on their way to getting there and then capping it off with county titles. I was really impressed with what you guys did there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, I think that says a lot of our, the rest of the coaching staff that we have. Those guys, Coach Greg Seal, Josh Maruka, Tim Florian, Mason Spears, who was with us this whole year while he was on a gap year. Those guys work hard every day. These guys certainly work hard every day. So, we always thought we could have that success, but, I will say we had a very good tournament that, it'd be hard to, we think we can repeat it, but getting good wins, you can lose the next week, as we know, right? You get into an individual tournament. So thank you. I appreciate it. And like I said, it was a big challenge for us knowing how good Hempfield was. And, we look forward to those opportunities, not just because that's what we build our program on. The pride of competing against guys like you guys and those things certainly is what we train for daily. And, we had a great tournament, so thank you.
Yeah. We're going to get to
I want to shift the focus
Finn here, so let's.
I was going to have Coach kind of talk about, obviously he's only a junior. As I said, now a 2-time state place winner, including 1 championship this year. Coach, talk a little bit about, watching Finn develop. I'm sure you knew him way back in middle school, maybe even before that. You've been with Franklin Regional now a number of years, so you were probably still in the JO program coming up through when Coach actually got to know you. But talk a little bit about his development to getting to state gold this past year.
Yeah, so Finn was around whenever his brother Gus, this is my 10th year overall being around the Franklin Regional program. And so we remember Finn is a little guy kind of running around. And, the thing that I always say about Finn that it's really hard to do, he never doesn't smile. He's in the room. He literally, he can be in the middle of practicing hard because we feel like we work hard as a team and he works hard as an individual, and we'll be having a conversation, like if we're talking about something, he'll jump into it middle of hitting a takedown, he'll laugh, he'll say something, but he's working hard, so he loves what he's doing, and I think that's obviously a big reason that he's able to have a success. He kind of lets it fly, and he trains that way. He works all summer long. He just, you can't say much else about, we have a couple of guys like that, a lot of guys, but Finn does things the right way, and his personality really is big in the room and working hard, and it's
contagious.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way.
Is he blowing smoke here, Finn? Let's hear from the horse himself. What motivates you getting into the room? What makes you enjoy this so much? And tell us your story on this.
It's just kind of fun, like he said. Like, I really do enjoy going into practice every day. I don't enjoy the practice itself, but I like to know that I'm getting better every single time I'm in practice, and like kind of making my teammates better, and like just the competition. I'm a very competitive guy, so like in practice I know that I'm just getting a little bit better than my opponents. So like I like to think about that while I'm in practice more than anything, and I just like to be there, like the atmosphere. They're all my good buddies. I grew up with them, and it's just fun to be in that practice room with them.
Now, he says you're always happy, but have you ever made one of your teammates mad in practice where you didn't know how you were going to react? And
Definitely. Me and Carter Divert were partners from freshman year. Well, we were partners since like we were 5 years old. Grew up basically fighting each other. We were best friends. I would always go over to his house, and we'd get fights there. Wrestling, we'd just start wrestling around and ended up fighting. And fighting in the room. He probably had to break up fights, probably many fights with us. We end up fighting at warming up this year somewhere. Super
warming up,
regions.
you said.
at the state tournament, warming up before the first round, it was actually kind of happening a little bit.
Yeah, it's just,
I'm sorry, but that is too
it's
crazy. So true, though. This is how intense it is, everybody. No, go ahead, please.
It's just
great.
like competition. We're both really competitive, and that's what I think makes us great, is that one of us doesn't want to get beat by the other one, even if it's in the practice room. Like, he thought, I hit him too hard. I thought he hit me too hard, and then just started getting more competitive, and we thought, like, oh, he's getting the better of me that time, even though we were just drilling. It's just how competitive we are.
It's true brothers getting after it. Yes, go ahead, Matt.
Early in their career, when they would literally argue about a takedown and we're like, who cares? Like, we would just make up something like that was 2, and I'd look at like Carter and say it wasn't 2, but I'd have to get him off, or the other way. They would just keep arguing, but in a way like because neither one wanted to give an inch.
It's that competitive then.
Yeah.
Either that or they wanted a little bit of airtime in practice. So like, we fight this out for a little bit. Coach is going to give us 20 seconds.
We figured it out.
Yeah, but that's the best part of it, because we know Carter, former state champion also, Finn wanting to get to that level, so they're pushing each other, which makes it good. And sometimes it gets chippy, and that's okay, because you two did make each other better at doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And we're all friends at the end. I've gotten fights with other people during practice too, like Mario, Garrett, all my practice partners. We're not fighting. We're just mad at ourselves, really, that we're not doing as well as we think. And then at the end of the day, we go in the locker room, we're all friends, so it doesn't really matter.
Let's get to the $1 million question. You found gold this year at Hershey. How did it feel? Your ultimate goal achieved in high school. How did it feel?
Felt amazing. It felt like dream come true. So like, but I mean, I just got to get back to work. Honestly, I know it sounds crazy, but I just want to keep working. It's fun to win one, but winning two is kind of the next step. Sure. It's kind of crazy. People win two, you just gets really small circle. The people that win one, it's amazing. It's a great feeling. I just want to get back to work and get back at it.
And I want to talk about a challenge, and I meant to do this with AJ, and I forgot, and I apologize for that. AJ, text me this answer whenever you watch back to this, but your best friend, your workout partner, your brother goes out a couple minutes before you, doesn't achieve his ultimate goal for his second career state title. How did that impact you before you have to go out and wrestle?
I actually didn't watch the match. That's something I do. I put my headphones on, I go to the back, and I don't watch the match before me. And I know he was wrestling right there. And I believe that he was going to win that match, and I had full confidence in him. And I just don't think I'd have to watch the match and see what happens there. I can go back, and I'll figure it out later, and I'll make sure he's all right later.
So you didn't know the results until you were done?
I didn't know the results until they said it on the podium, though, which kind of stunk because I was the match before while he was getting announced on the podium. So I heard it on the podium, but I don't like my emotions getting too high or low before my match, just so it doesn't mess with my head at all.
And I wondered about that, what you were just talking about, because it was you and Hammett. You and Hammett the week before at Super Region, and you really put it on him. What was it, 12-1 or 12, something like that? But then you faced him again in the state finals, and it was much closer. So that's why I was wondering if that did impact you at all in the state finals, because I think it was 7-5, right, was your final match. So talk a little bit about that, him closing the gap, and did you ever feel not in control in that final match?
No, I really felt control the whole time, but I mean, it's the state finals. I knew it was going to be a good match. I mean, match before I had a great match, and I think I could do that a lot and every time. It's just, I mean, he's going to give a fight to every point, every little thing, so I knew it was going to be a closer match, and I felt control. I mean, I gave up that 2-2 backs that I ended up not knowing I gave up until I got back up onto my feet. Yeah. And I mean, that kind of put the match rating back into his hands, but I just kind of fought through that and just kept wrestling through it. But I felt in control. I felt good in the match and just kind of kept wrestling through it.
Because in Super Region, you could do no wrong. I mean, he had no answer for anything you were doing there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he dominated him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Coach, did you know the way that Finn doesn't like to know what his brothers, what happened previous? Did you know, was there something special you had to do before he went out onto the mat? Did you guys talk about it at all, or did you just try to erase it from his mind to get him ready for Cole?
Yeah, no, I think our biggest thing we talked about with Finn a couple weeks before that was basically it's not about winning and losing. He's trying to be great. Same with Carter and a lot of these other guys. He's really searching for greatness. Winning and losing is great, and winning the state title is great. But I think back to the Whitfield tournament, one of his big things, he was very disappointed that he just didn't open up, right? He won a match against a really good Dylan Evans, and then Cole lost. But he'll tell you, after that match, I think he was very hard on himself. And then from that next point to 2 weeks, going into the state finals, he didn't give up a point in his two matches. And against Cole Hallman, who's a great opponent, if you go back and watch that broadcast on Flow, there was a very, very 2-2 call that, the referees do agree. Yes, absolutely. So if you take away a 2 set of back points, 7-3 with more of, so I really think he controlled the match more than what
the score showed.
If that makes sense. And if you kind of go back, so I think he gave 3 points in the state takeaway. 0 points going into the state finals in 2 consecutive matches. The week before, he majored Dylan Evans, who was his third or fourth.
Yeah, it was 9-1. He beat him,
and then Hammett. So I think he had a really good 2 weeks, but I think it was his mindset. He really, after that point, he was hard on himself. And he kind of just...
Would you consider that loss to Evans at Whips a good loss?
To Hammett?
Or Hammett, yes, I'm sorry, Hammett.
Definitely. I definitely do think it's a loss. I mean, I moved on.
It was like you needed to get it out of the way.
Yeah, it's all about moving on. So, and then I kind of refocused my whole mind. It kind of, like you said, changed my mindset, and that's when I think I became a better wrestler just from that one loss. My entire mindset of wrestling changed, where it went from I have to go out there and try to win, score a point, win, hold on, just win the match, to I don't really care if I win or lose. If I put 12 points on the board, I'm not going to lose the match.
That was an incredible swing from those 2 matches. What attributed to that? What did you do differently? I mean, it's in the past, so we're not telling stories out of school. I mean, it's not like you're showing your hand because it's over. what did you do from week to week that was able to put that swing on him?
Honestly, I went into practice and Coach Lebe said, you don't have to change any of your wrestling. You have to change your mindset. And I agree with him. The first thing I said after the match when I lost to Hammond is I said I didn't wrestle. I said I can beat that kid. I just didn't wrestle him. I didn't move. I didn't do anything that I do. So I said, I don't know why. I just kind of froze up. And I think, honestly, it might have been the atmosphere of last year, the same, in my opinion, from Whips the 2 years ago when I didn't make it and I didn't do what I wanted to do there. So, like, kind of nerve-wracking. That's the Whitfield Finals, the same thing. I've never actually been to the Whitfield Finals. That was the first time. And I kind of just changed my mindset. I think that's the only thing I switched, to go out there and wrestle and have fun with the sport. I literally didn't do anything technical the entire 2 weeks. Not one thing, just wrestle.
Wow, that's
Mental.
impressive.
And I can add, I mean, literally we had kind of, you know, at that point we had Carter and Finn there, and literally as a coach staff we talked, there is not one thing technically that we need to change with Finn. There wasn't one thing we went into that week. I don't even think we game planned really specifically for either of those guys. In his super region, if you look back at that, he had Matt Sarbo, who was 6th in the state, Dylan Evans was 5th, and Cole Hammett 2nd.
Yeah.
And so it was, I mean, on PIAA talking about that was maybe the toughest weight out the tournament with the 152. There wasn't one thing technically that Finn had to do. He just made a decision that he was going to wrestle, and the result was going to be the result. And I think you got to see. I mean, that's
good.
how good. That's how good Finn is. I mean,
Yeah, that's what you're getting at, and I'm trying to extract a little bit is not enough people out there believe in the actual mindset part of training. And I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's swimming, if it's track, if it's wrestling. The mindset is so important, but a lot of people will not embrace that. And that's what I wanted to see. If you change technique, or if you were changing a little bit here, because it's a huge part that not a lot of coaches work on. So that's impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, that's actually, I've watched videos on it. I watched like a lot of things, and I looked at different colleges. Penn State, they have their own guy that does all the mindset
Sports
for
psychology.
each, sports psychologist,
Yes.
for every single guy. And that's what they do. They go see him, because I think that's why, honestly, Penn State has a lot of success. They do that, and they focus on the mind. They're free when they wrestle. They just wrestle and
Wrestle
have
free,
fun.
have fun.
And that's where I kind of changed. I went back to when I was younger, and when I just wrestled, I didn't care what was going on. If he took me down, I just kind of went at him 100% and see what happened at the end of the match, and that's kind of how I wrestled there.
The fact that you're embracing that right now could lead, and I say this positively, could lead to some success of your goal repeating as a state champion. Because we all know, I mean, you don't get Hershey Gold by accident. You have to earn it, and you did that. So I think you're on the right path to maybe repeating as a state champ. If you embrace that, in my opinion, I think it'll certainly help.
Thank you.
Coach, obviously very condensed season, very hard to train yourself, your coaching staff, before you pour your knowledge into your kids, which they trust you to get them to peak at the right time. Talk about it from a coaching staff point. And then, Finn, I want you to talk about what it was like knowing that coach's approach to getting you to peak at the right time, how you felt that all meshed up together, Coach.
Yeah, so again, for us, I think, you know, it's the overall program. In fact, we was, you know, Greg Seal, obviously, great coach. We had Josh Maruka come back this year. They came from Arizona State. He brought a lot of his stuff that, you know, he had plans of what they were doing at Arizona State and things like that. So he was a great addition to our staff as far as just, you know, we bounce out, you know, I tried to keep notes from a couple of years ago when we put 3 in the state finals, what our practice plan was. And then he had some stuff, kind of brought that together. Like I said, these guys, you know, and I know Young Guns wrestling with Jody Strittmatter, that, you know, I bounce a lot of things off Jody because I know his relationship, Carter's relationship, our guys, they got great relationship. And so I try to overall take from, you know, I think that's
many resources.
Absolutely, many resources, and try to put these guys in the best situation to be successful. So it was tough, but man, it was short, so we just knew that
Go,
and it was fun, and we competed, and then we shortened our practices and kind of did the things that we felt that could give these guys the opportunity to be successful. And I thought we had great success with our individuals leading up. Obviously, the WPL tournament is really tough. I'm sorry, I talked about
That's okay.
The WPL tournament was really tough with only 8 guys. I mean, you know, we took 9 guys there. And like we said, any other year, we can't tell you the last time we had 9 in the quarterfinals, essentially, of the WPL tournament. So it got really hard there, and then these guys wrestled extremely well in the super region and at the state tournament, you know. So
peaking at the right time, having to put that trust into your coaches, knowing that the season was completely changed? Talk about it.
Yeah, I actually think he was a little humble there because we really are big on peaking at the right time, and I think they do the best job out of any of the coaches for that one, definitely, because I think they know what they're doing exactly when to peak, when practices get shorter, when they need to relax and just take a break. Like, he thought I was overtraining. I went to Sunday at Young Guns, and he told me to take a break the next Wednesday. He exactly knew when the plan was. He had a plan for me, and I stuck with that plan. I think my body felt good. I felt sore Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was like, oh my God, I'm ready to go. This is it. I feel good. My body's good. My weight's on. It was perfect. So I was just ready to go.
Stars
at the right time.
aligned.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about, obviously, this year you came out of a very stacked weight. I mean, a very, very stacked weight. The decision by the state to not advance as many wrestlers to the next week. As a coach and as a student athlete, a wrestler, a competitor, did that play any role in the back of your mind, knowing that not the usual amount of wrestlers are going to continue on to the next week, knowing that you were coming out of a monster weight?
Yeah, it did, but it didn't. I was kind of thinking, Super Regions, whips, I felt like I was the top guy there. So all I had to do was wrestle and win. You can't not go if you don't win. So I just kind of focused on wrestling and trying to just wrestle through the tournament. And just who cares in front of me, just wrestle through it. And I knew I didn't have a great draw at Super Regions, but I kind of liked it. It was a tough draw, and I kind of had that, my mindset was changed, and I just wanted to wrestle. So it was kind of fun going back to back to back, all those tough kids in the state. And then it was just moved on to states, and there was less kids there, so it was actually, in my opinion, an easier bracket than Super Regions once I got to states.
Was it crazy wrestling in the Giant Center with very little fans?
It was going out there. It was a little crazy, the walkout, the Parade of Champions and stuff like that. But once you're wrestling, you don't notice anything.
Yeah, sure.
For me, on the other hand, I was nervous from I don't know, the whole 3 weeks leading up to it. And really felt bad for some of our other guys that I thought we had guys that were guys that could have been in normal
year, right?
Competing for the 4. So even with Finn and Cardrew, we have the utmost confidence in because the way they do it. We knew they were two of the top guys. You still never know, right? You still, Finn's a perfect example of it. Obviously that way he had last year with Curtis and then he fell back in a match against a good opponent, and it takes one match. So sure, I think we were nervous, but confident in these guys that if they wrestle, take care of business.
Did you find that the Super Region was really the state tournament? Did you? Because if you got through this region, you're already on the podium at states. You had to do well at the Super Region.
Well, the state considers the Super Region tournament part of the state tournament, Jeffrey.
I
know. It's not. I know.
Like I said, I think it was tougher for me, especially
the Super Region.
My going through it, yeah.
Matt you come in at the 6th seed at the Super Region. So
I had Matt Sarbo first match, who I grew up with, kind of wrestling at Young Guns. He doesn't really wrestle there much anymore, but I used to wrestle him all the time. I knew how tough he was, and I knew how good of a wrestler he was. That was my first match at Super Regions.
Right.
You could go and then if I lost that, he went straight down to, I forget his name right now. Josh Miller. Who's tough kid.
Yeah.
And then Dylan Evans was also on that side. That's 4 probably top 5-6 kids in the state right there, all on one side. One of them wasn't going.
So your decision has been made, right?
Yep.
NC State.
Yep, NC State.
Why? How?
It felt comfortable. I felt like the right school. I went down there and I met up with some of the kids and trained a little bit down there, and it just felt like the right place for me. They're doing great things, the coaching staff, the right culture. They really are big on culture.
They're recruiting the right state is what they're doing.
That's right.
Let's just call it what it is. Pennsylvania.
3 Pennsylvania state champions in the class.
Yeah, we just had 3 Pennsylvania state champs, which I don't really. It was Joe Milano, Jackson Arrington, and me, all state champs going to NC State. So it's kind of crazy. They're doing the right thing down there, and I think they're just going to keep getting better and hopefully win a national title when I'm on the team.
I like it. Jeff, if you're done, I'm going to wrap it up, and we're going to move it on. That is Matt Lebe and Finn Sullivan, our state champ from Franklin Regional. Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, no, I want to thank you guys.
Oh.
This is awesome. You guys guys always do it right, so we appreciate it. Appreciate Vince for obviously letting here, but Westmoreland Sports, man, you guys are great.
Thank you.
You know, anytime we can have you guys come out the front, we always let's go. So we appreciate everything you guys do.
We'll be ready for your schedule this summer, and we'll be there.
Thank
Guys,
you.
thank you so much. Congratulations. Go get another gold next year. That's Finn Sullivan, Matt Lebe.